Namaskar and a very warm welcome to NCERT's live interactive program. I am Neha Tripathi. We are here with yet another session of webinar. Today's topic is Don't Fall for Scams, Protecting Your Online Reputation. We already had an interesting and informative webinar on browser safety and protecting online account yesterday. Today, we are taking the safety and security issues a step further. Mr. Lucien Teo is joining us from Singapore again. He is Education and Outreach Manager from Google. Welcome to the session, Mr. Lucien.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a wonderful time yesterday sharing about how to protect your online account, making sure your passwords are strong, and the most important part, not to reuse any of the passwords for your different logins.
Yes, we understood it very well. I'm sure many of us must have changed our passwords yesterday, or they must be in the process of changing. Before we start today's session, let me tell our viewers that if you have any questions related to the topic, related to this internet security issue, you can call us on our toll-free numbers 1-800-111-265 and 1-800-111-2199. If you are watching us on our YouTube channel, NCERT Official, you can send in your comments in the comment section as well. And you can mail us on ciet.kishormanch@gmail.com. We'll be happy to answer your questions. We'll take your questions at the end of the session. So let's begin the session. And Mr. Lucien, as you said, you have told us a few things yesterday. If we can have a quick recap, and then we'll move to this session.
Sure. Yesterday, we spoke very clearly about how your online password is the key to all your online accounts. And if you use the same password, all the bad guys need to do is steal one, and then you lose all your online accounts at one time. So the key takeaway yesterday was have one strong password, but use different passwords for all the different kinds of logins you have, right? Don't use the same one. Modify it, change it a little bit. And we also talked briefly about writing them down on paper and how you can do that in a way that maybe the person who steals your notebook isn't able to use your passwords as well. So today we will cover quite a few things, but they're equally important, especially if you're on the internet a lot more these days. So let me present my slides and I'll get back soon.
So today we'll understand, don't fall for scams. Scams word threaten us, make us scared a bit. So we'll understand how we don't fall for scams and we protect our online reputation. So let's start with it.
That is correct. So the first thing you want to know is that you need to be very alert these days, right? There's a lot of false information, a lot of online scams. On the internet, while most people on the internet are good, there's a lot of useful information. You can do so much. There's also the false information that may trick you, and then there are scams that may try to cheat you of your money or steal your information from you. You know, when I was growing up, right, you like to watch all the detective shows. And one of the things that we used to do was every time the show would end and they would say, we have photographic evidence of the person committing the crime. And then that would be the end of it because the photo was always the proof, the final proof that they caught the person. No, that was me when I grew up. And then as I grew up, slowly you hear things like, oh, people can edit the photos. Computers became a big thing. People could edit the photos. Now photos weren't anymore the final proof that something happened because photos couldn't always be trusted.
Yes. And
so we went the video, right? Video is maybe the best proof. So if you saw a video of somebody doing something, 100% that person actually did it. And then today there's video editing. So it becomes harder and harder to actually know what is real, what is fake, what is and when to share, when to tell people what the truth is. So I'll share a video with you if you don't mind.
Please.
So this was made many years ago.
Okay.
Here you go.
This recently discovered colony of penguins is unlike any other. They don't need to huddle together every winter for protection against the bitter cold, because these little fellas can do something no other penguins can. Isn't that amazing? how do they use this incredible ability? Well, they fly thousands of miles to the rainforests of South America, where they spend the winter basking in the tropical sun.
So, Neha, I wanted to ask you, after watching this video,
Yes.
do you believe that penguins can really fly?
Actually, I don't know. I have never heard of that.
Yeah, so if I showed people this video, right,
Huh.
would you immediately tell your friends that, you know, I saw penguins flying because I saw the video of it?
Of course, because we believe on the video, and when what we are seeing, actually we believe what we see. That is the basic thing. So maybe, yes.
So when I talk to many students about this and I show them this video, the first reaction is always, oh, that's fake because penguins cannot fly. Right? We've
That's
known
true.
from very
Yes.
young, penguins cannot fly. But I told them, what if one day a scientist goes out and discovers penguins that can fly, he videos it. Why don't you believe it? Because there's a video. Right? We're making new scientific discoveries every single day.
Yes.
And they always astound us, and they break what we know of things. So how do you tell that this is true or this is false? So we took some time to narrow it down. So if you look at who published the video, if you go back to the slides and you see who published the video, you look closely, right? The first thing you want to notice is always, is the person who published the video credible?
Okay.
So in this case, we see that the BBC published the video,
Yes.
right? Is the BBC a credible organization?
Yes.
Of course,
Yes.
we all
Yes,
grew
it
up with
is.
the BBC,
Hmm.
right? So you look closely. Is it a real BBC account? Oh, it looks like it has a tick. And then you look at it. Oh, there are 4.1 million subscribers. So this is the real BBC. This is the real BBC YouTube account, and there are many millions of views.
Okay.
So surely this video is real, right?
No.
So there is one little clue in all of this data right here that shows you that it's possibly false. And I've showed these videos to thousands and thousands of students. Only a handful could tell me what is the clue.
What is the clue? Let us also know.
So if you zoom in and you look very closely, do you see the date that it's published?
It is 2008,
So
31 March.
it is not that it is old video. Old videos can still tell things that we don't know, right? It's fine. 2008 is not a problem. The problem is the next day after this is April 1st.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yes.
we know that the most of the Western world, on April 1st, they celebrate April Fool's Day. That's when they play pranks. They put out things that are not true and they try to get people to believe.
Yes.
You know, so it's a very small clue, but I wanted to highlight that it's so important for our students, for our teachers, for everybody today. When you see something, to look for clues as to why things are real, why things might not be real. So today we run through a few tips. I don't have 100% foolproof plan of telling whether something is true or not, but I can help us get a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser, right? Before we see something, before we share something.
Yes. We also come across so many fake news these days, especially in this COVID-19 situation. We are getting so many fake news, and we are trying to learn that how to identify which one is fake and which one is not. So we, at least what we can do is we can just stay back, think about it, see all the details, try to find out the real picture, try to find out more news reports related to that, and then only forward it to other people. That is what we ask people to do, actually, as a media person, as an educator, as a teacher also. We don't allow them to follow blindly any news that is coming to them. That is what the case is here. Yes.
That is absolutely correct, especially in this day, in this circumstance. A lot of false news came up. So my next slide I'm showing, this is I think this is something that you are familiar with. Right? So
Yes.
I think a few weeks ago they said PMOD is going to be dropping money from helicopters, and everybody shared on WhatsApp. right? Until the PIB showed that the fact check that, oh, it's not true. You know, and so I looked up the PIB's Twitter feed. They're doing such a great job of trying to find out what is real, what is not real. And it's a good check, because sometimes we do need institutions to go and check. Journalists such as yourself, Neha, to go check for us what is the real thing and what is not the real thing. So a few tips, and I'm sharing this. This was a campaign run by the Singapore government, and I wanted to share because they picked up a few things that you might want to pay attention to. The first thing is the article written by somebody who's searching for facts or somebody who wants attention, right? Whenever you see, yes,
there is
go ahead.
Big difference. There is a big difference, a fact seeker and attention seeker. That's true.
Correct, because sometimes you see the blogs. Sometimes you look at the website and you go like, this website is made up of scientists who want to find out the truth. You go to another website, I've never heard of any of these people before. Some of them may be like very famous online celebrity, you know, but they like to publish news that is exciting, that make you very excited, but they'll be the first ones to publish anything. So you always look at who came up with the article. Is it an article by people who are looking for facts, or people looking for attention, people who want to drum up more attention to their media? Then the second one is what you hear from the horse's mouth or from just word of mouth, right? So for example, when I was sharing this with a school about a year back, there was huge floods in Singapore, right? Because the rains of the was flooding. And among all of Singapore, in WhatsApp, people were sharing, oh, look, the flood is so high, the car is under the water, right? And everybody shared. And they say, oh, this is in the east side of Singapore, this is happening right now. And it really was raining heavily. So the first thing we did was, wait a second, before you share this, do you know who took the video? And they go, oh, I don't know. Somebody passed the video to me, right? And then if you ask the person who passed the video, oh, I don't know, somebody passed the video to me. So nobody knew who took the video. And when they search, the video is not even in Singapore. It's actually taken in another country that they publish it and they say, oh, this is Singapore right now. So a lot of the time before we share something, if we share a video, if we share a photo, it's good to find out if the person that shared it with you, whether that's the person who really took the photo, really took the video, whether that's a first-person account of what you're seeing. Because if it's not, then I would give that a lot less credibility than if I knew the person who actually posted it. So the third one, and this is important, sometimes we see status update, right? And there are some things which we are more eager to share than other things, right? Sometimes you see something on WhatsApp and you immediately want to share because, oh, this is very exciting, or this is very scary. Your emotions come up and you want to share it. And sometimes I'm guilty of this as well. I mean, it's something I'm still learning myself. In the midst of the excitement or the midst of the fear, sometimes it's good to calm yourself down, wait a while, right? And then think carefully. Do I need to share this right now? Or do I wait for it to prove itself true before I share it? Right? So the one thing which, what we call clickbait, right? These are things which make us want to click or want to share. The one they have in common is they play on our emotions. They either make us very angry, very scared, very excited. You know, sometimes you click on a site and they tell you, oh, you got to buy this now. You have 15 seconds left before the offer ends. And everybody is clicking and trying to buy. And then you don't realize that. I've seen this before.
Yes.
Where somebody's selling, let's say, a computer game, right? And it's so cheap. And everybody go and buy. And then they didn't read the fine print that the person is selling a photograph of the computer game and not the computer game itself.
We don't even try to click and see if the game is original, if the game is going good, it's playing fine or not. We just want to, don't miss the seconds and buy them. Yes, that is the instinct, basic instinct. That's true.
So we look at the emotions that move us. And the moment you feel that emotion, it's sometimes good to take a step back, wait a while, breathe, and then think about, is it important for me to send it now? If it's not, let's wait a while. So I have another video, despite all of this, right? I mean, I will confess that, like I said, I'm learning. So this is a video I received through my social media many years ago, and I'll show this to you right now.
Sure.
Oh shit! Oh. Hey, votre enfant est correct?
Ah ouais, mais là, t'as-tu vu ça?
When we see the video as parents, the first thing we go is, oh no, it's a huge bird flying from the sky, coming down, picking up a child, and almost flying away the child. And I can tell you immediately, all my friends shared with every single parent they know. Because it's the nightmare of every parent, right? To have your child taken away.
Even I got that impression only. I could not make out from the video what that bird picked and ran away, flew away.
Yeah.
But I also thought so only. The first thought that came to my mind was like, maybe the bird picked the child or something.
So all of us shared it. I think every parent I know, every place I know, well, when you got to be careful when you bring your child in the open, look out because big bird may come and take your child away, right? It's an eagle or something, you never know.
But that is not true. That can't be true, actually.
But we don't. I mean, the thing is, there's a fear, and
Yes.
because of the fear, we just share. So what happened was, for this particular video, nobody knew who took it. Until 1 year later, almost like 1 year later, then we discovered, oh, it is actually a final year project for some graphic design students who are doing video editing.
That's funny. Oh God.
It must be really good, right? I mean, to have everything so perfect and it looked like handheld, it looked like it's somebody just with a phone filming, and it's so easy to believe. So even before we share such things, sometimes it's good to wait a while, let it shake out first. Yeah. So moving on. I know that many of the false information we receive these days, we receive through instant messaging, our phones, right? Whether through WhatsApp, sometimes Facebook Messenger, and I know this to be true of everybody I've spoken to. Of your WhatsApp group, there is always one group that shares the most false information. And sometimes it's the one with the most family members. I don't know if you have it, because in Singapore and a lot of Asia, you always have that group with your extended family, right? You include your uncles, your aunties.
And we have this thing saying, if we ask you, why do you forward all these messages to this group? They say, I'm just forwarding it within the family. I'm not giving it to other people. I say, within the family also, you are, miseducating your family. That is also an area of concern.
Correct. So, I mean, I'll confess to you, I tried so many times to correct my family members. No, sometimes it takes a lot of effort, right? It takes a lot of effort to go and search, is this true? Is this true? And then you Google and then you find where is it coming from? And then eventually you find out it's false. And then you show them, oh, shouldn't share that because it's false.
Mm-hmm.
So after doing that a few times, I realized that my family members, they start telling me, I think you don't correct us, just stop. Because
that's true. Everybody's experience, I believe.
Yeah, and they say, oh, we're just sharing. We're sharing. Don't stop us from sharing because that's how we communicate. That's how we bond.
Yeah.
Right? But there still is a need to stand up for what is true and what is false, especially if it hurts somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know that in these days of COVID-19, you have a lot of discrimination, a lot of racial tension, sometimes because of this news. Right? They'll come up and they'll say, oh no, that site has COVID, and then we need to stop them. And it may not be true. So these falsehoods are very, very damaging to society, and we need to be sure, very, very sure of what we say and what we share, especially in these times. So another scam which always goes out is, I gave the example of, there was a scam a few years ago about this Virgin Atlantic giving free tickets, and they would post it on WhatsApp and everybody would share it, and you click on the link, right? So what happened when you click on the link? This was the message, giving away 2 free tickets per family to celebrate the 35th anniversary. And then there's a website link, and it's blue. You click on it, you go to a website. I don't know if you can see this very clearly on your screen.
Yes, we can.
At the bottom of, you look at the website address, looks perfectly fine, right? It looks like a legitimate website.
But the spelling of, okay, yes.
It looks correct.
Yes, it looks correct.
If you look below the R,
okay,
can you see a little dot?
Yes, Yes, yes. That's what I was about to point. Then I thought that it might be like a part of the
Correct.
name.
Like,
There is a point. Yes. When I
or
said
the
spelling, I
screen is
was about to
dirty or
point that.
something.
Yes. This is the first impression that we get, of course.
Yes. When you click on that, you're actually brought to a totally different website address. Because what happened is the R is a character in another language.
Okay.
Right? It is not an R, it's another character. So the whole website, when you click it, it appears, this is the address that eventually brings you to.
Okay, okay.
So the one thing I'm telling people all the time, when you see an address and you click on it, always double check. Go up to your browser, look at the address, whether the address is the actual address you wanted to go. Because I can put whatever I want in the link. It can look absolutely correct, like your bank. When you click on it, you come to my website, and I can make my website look like the bank. And then there, again, I steal your username, I steal your password. I can even make you withdraw money and send it to me. There are many things I can do, right? Once you're in.
URL is not the same, never the same.
So the
Can't use
URL
the
will
same
never be the
URL.
same. Correct. You can't use the same URL. URLs are unique. So you need to
Okay.
check the URL to make sure absolutely that is the website you want to go. There's no way they can fake a URL. What they can do is make it look very, very close. Right? For example, if there's an O in the URL, I can put a 0.
Yes,
If
of
there's
course.
an L, I can put a number 1. So those things you need to look very closely to make sure you're doing the transactions in the place you want to do the transaction in.
We never go into these minute details, I must admit it. Actually.
So the one thing is, when you're doing a transaction that is important, you want to double check. So again, it depends on what you're protecting. If you're protecting something really safe, where you're giving up information or giving up money, right, then double check. If you're just surfing like normal news and all that, only if the news really affects you and you want to make sure the news is correct, then better double check to see if that is the news organization. You know, but if you're just surfing around looking for jokes and everything, it doesn't matter where it come from. If it's funny, I laugh. If it's not funny, I don't laugh. That's about it, right? So there's no need to check all the time, but you check whenever it's important. So the second thing I want to tell you, I'm sure some of you have seen these screens on your computer before.
Yes.
Right? You click on something and it appears all red, and then it tells you, warning, the site contains malware, or the site is deceptive site ahead. So this is what we call a safe browsing warning. Right? So Google works very hard to search as much of the internet as we can. And whenever we find a site that is deceptive, that means it wants your information, but it isn't the correct site and it's trying to look like a legitimate site. Or whenever there's a site that has malware and you're about to download it. So this is when we make it very clear, we actually download the malware and we test. And when we confirm it's malware, then we make a warning for people. Warning, you're going to a site with malware. We have this huge red sign. And this is when we tell people, I think it's time for you to not go here. Don't go here. So I'm here to tell you to pay attention to these warnings. I say that because most of the time, what happens is people always try to, if you click on the word details below the warning, we actually do allow you to go to the site if you really, really want to. You know, but we can tell you for sure there's malware there. We've tested it. So we're telling you, pay attention to the warnings. And then, of course, we want to talk what is malware, right? Malware is basically software that does harm to your device. So it could be software that steals information from your device, software that makes your device compromised. So for example, if I download a piece of malware into my phone, right? If the person is smart, he can create a malware that can turn on my camera when he wants to. He can steal all my addresses from my phone. He can know what I'm typing on, what my Wi-Fi I'm on. All those things are doable. So the one advice is whenever you download an app for your phone, only download from trusted sources. If you're downloading for an Android phone, go to the Google Play Store. If you're downloading for Apple, for your iOS devices, go to the iTunes store. Those are the places you should be downloading apps. Don't go to another website that tells you, oh, I have the app for free. You don't have to do anything, right? I'm giving it away. So this is where the old values that we were taught when we were children. There's no such thing as a free lunch. I don't know if you have that saying in India, because in Singapore, we always say things like that. No such thing as a free lunch, right? That if somebody is giving away something for free, you need to be more careful. So the Safe Browsing team at Google, we scan and we verify over 50 billion apps every single day. We're looking at all the apps out there to make sure that they are safe, that nobody tampered with them and now has become malware. And we do this every day. So the warnings we issue you are the result of our hard work. So please pay attention to the warnings. No, don't just jump and try to go around it, because we're telling you that whatever you're about to download will really do harm. Whatever site you're going to is not the real site you want to go to. Now we'll move on a little bit to managing your online reputation. So I know most of us these days, we post a lot of things on the internet. And sometimes we don't think very much about it. Like I said, we share things very openly. We post things, we post our photos, we share things with family. One thing we need to realize is whatever we post on the internet is very easy to find, right? Can go viral. Some of us want it to go viral. Some of us don't really want it to go viral. Some things go viral the wrong way, all right? And then it stays permanently online. You can delete it from your account. You can do what you want, but somebody out there would have made a copy of it. And whatever you post on the internet affects your reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talk about managing your online reputation. You need to be careful what you post, because whatever you post has an impact on the person looking at you, right? When you post something that is that you think is funny, other people may not think it's funny, right? When you post something that is angry and then you realize later you did it wrong. Oh, the person didn't actually, let's say you posted that, oh, that shop is cheating me on money, and then you did your calculations wrongly. By the time you apologize and say sorry, somebody took a screenshot, they shared it with 1 million people, the shop suffers so much reputational damage, it's very hard to repair. So you must be very, very careful what you post. And the last part, what you post today affects your future. And for you young people watching this, this is very, 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 very important. Because today when you're young, sometimes we are hot-tempered and we post something, right? We can say, oh, the school is wrong to give me this, and then you post this very long, very angry thing. And you don't realize that many, many years later, when you're looking for a job, all the posts you posted, all the things you did in your youth, they come back. The employer is able to find it. And then now they're looking at you and looking at all the things you posted in the past and wondering, should I hire this person? So what you do today affects you many years down the road. And then here I want to also talk to parents, right? Mm-hmm. Parents, please take extra care. So when many years ago, when I had my first child, I have 3 children, by the way. When I had my first child, this was 15 years ago, right? Of course, like every parent, super excited. You know, you take so many photos of your child. You're like, this is an amazing experience, and it is so hard. And then when your child learns to talk, you take video and you share with everybody. Oh, my child is so clever, learn how to talk. You know, when your child learns to walk, you take video and then you post the first steps. After a while, what I realized, as a parent, it is part of my experience, my life. I wanted to share with everybody else. Mm-hmm. But one thing I forgot, I'm also sharing the experiences of my child. That means one day when my child grows up, these are her experiences too. That she deserves to have a say whether these things are shared or not.
Yes, that's
right. And that's the part that blew my mind. So when my child turned 2, I stopped posting anything about my children as much as I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do post about our children here and never thinking about this aspect of the story, what you are telling us today.
Because the one nightmare I have, right, is one day my daughter goes out with a nice man, they want to get to know each other, and the guy just says, oh, actually, I know everything because your father posted everything from you're born all the way till now. I don't need to know everything. You don't have to tell me. I know everything already. you know, and how my children want to portray themselves is their story to tell.
Yes.
Right? It's their story to write, their story to tell. It is not for me to tell the whole world the kind of people they are. They are wonderful people and they deserve the right to tell their own story. So for parents out there watching this, take extra care. And if you're an educator, talk to the parents that you work with. Tell them that sometimes some things you may want to share with a smaller group. Maybe only share with the closest family. You don't have to post it online. Don't have to tell everybody. Because the things that are posted are permanent and are searchable. And sometimes when you post about children are really about another person's life.
Yes. I want to ask something. Once
Sure.
the child is like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and he understands that what should go to the public, whatever he or she is doing, like he's reciting a poem or doing some activity at home and I want to share it. So if I ask him that or her that let me post this and let your friends know or my friends know about it, and if he says yes, okay, fine, you can do it, then we should do it because they are minors, they can't do it themselves.
Yes.
So if they give me permission to do that, can I do it as a parent?
But you need to calculate, right? Because the permission is also obtained from a minor.
Minor, yes, that's true.
Right? So they may not be in the best, I mean, they may say, yes, please share everything I do. But coming from a 5 or 6 year old, we need to balance that with, are they making the wise decision? So as a parent, we do our best to protect them. I'm not saying don't share anything. You can share what you want, but always share it with the best intent. But also know that even with the best intent, some things you post could go wrong. So you err on the side of privacy because it is your child's privacy and not yours. If you're sharing about your own life, you bear the consequence. If you're sharing about your child needs to carry the consequence as they grow up.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
So, and then I wanted to share this case of so a number of years ago, Justine Sacco was a PR professional, right? And she was going on a plane from the US going to Africa. And just before she got on the plane, she posted this and she thought it was funny, right? She posted it. At that point in time, she only had maybe 100 followers on Twitter. And they were her family, her close friends. And so she thought when she posted this, you know, no harm, it's just funny. She posted it, she got on a plane, her plane took off, right? What happened next was she didn't realize one of her friends was a famous celebrity journalist who had tens of thousands of Twitter followers. So her friend retweeted this. And while she was on the plane, the whole Twitter world exploded. Everybody was talking about it. So remember, on the plane, she doesn't have Wi-Fi. She doesn't know what's going on. She has no idea. Right? By the time she landed, she already lost her job. No, and today we're still sharing about the account of what not to do. No, so for what it's worth, today she's gotten back on her feet. She's a successful professional, you know, and we can learn from her lesson. We don't have to make her carry the pain of the mistake all these years. And we wish her the best, but we need to learn the lessons that she learned the very hard way. Right?
We can learn from her experiences.
Absolutely. So before we post something, before we say something, before we react in anger, always realize that what you do and what you say could explode, could go viral. Everybody can talk about it, and it could possibly in a bad way that affects you. So one thing which is very popular, I think, for people our age to do is every time we like to talk about politics and we like to post about it publicly. When we talk about it, we need to be very careful what we post, because the things that make us angry sometimes are not true. And when we post in anger and then we realize it's not true, it's too late. We've done a lot of damage, sometimes to another person, sometimes to our own reputation. So be very, very careful what you post online, because your social media has a lot of power. So use that power very carefully, use it for good, and be very careful when you attack somebody else or when you lash out in anger. So the last part I want to talk about is what is sensitive information that you shouldn't post online anywhere and what is okay, right? So for example, things like your passport number, your ID number. I'll even share, a lot of people like to go to the airport. And what they do is they take a photo of their boarding pass. I'm going to such a place. I managed to get upgraded to business class. I take a photo. I was upgraded. What you don't know, your full name is there. The barcode is there. With the barcode, I can actually log in to the airline and tell them that I'm you, right? Because I've got the barcode to the boarding pass. I can then use your boarding pass and cancel your flight. I can change a lot of things. So you have to be very careful what you share. Sometimes you don't need to share too much. Don't share documents. The best is don't share documents. Don't show your passport. Don't show your ID number. All these things, keep it very, very, very secret. And it's own things only you need to know. Second one, don't share passwords. Don't share your PIN number. There was an interesting incident a number of years ago. So what happened was that there was a news organization in the US that got hacked. Right? And so it became a news story. So the news people went down to the office and interviewed the person. Oh, how was the hacking? What was the damage and all that? And the person was telling the story. And the background behind him, so kind of like behind me now, in the background, you could see the picture of the Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi password posted on top. Right? So now the whole world who's watching it know where the building is because they know the organization. Now they know the Wi-Fi ID and they know the Wi-Fi password because while you are interviewed, you don't realize behind you, you give up a lot of information.
Yes.
So even things like that, you need to be careful. So for example, sometimes we ask our children, when like you said, like they're reciting a poem, right? And we post it on social media. It's important to know if they're in their school uniform, it means that people know what school they're in.
Yes.
Right? If they have their name tag, sometimes their school uniform has a name tag. Now, not only do I know what school they're in, I know their full name.
We have a habit of, sharing by a child's first day at school. Yeah, some award they win, like the first prize they win in some competition or something. We share those photographs along with the school dress. I don't know. Yes.
And then you hold the certificate up with the full name, right?
Yes. Yes, of course.
So that, to me, that immediately, sensitive information, do not share. Then yesterday you asked me about sharing mobile number. So I said it's also sensitive. Don't share it because with your mobile number, I can spoof a SIM card. And the last one is home address. Right? You may not share the actual address, but if I notice in your social media, right, maybe you take a photo at your front door and the address is right behind you. Then now I know where you live. Or if you always take the photo, near my house, people know the neighborhood you live in. And slowly they can narrow down to the house you live in. Yes. So you must be very careful what people are able to tell about you. So
for mobile numbers, I have one more query that for businesses to flourish, like we are now into online business, everything is going online. So in case of online business, we need to give a phone number for the contact or a WhatsApp number or something. So we can take a separate number for these purposes rather than, sharing your personal number.
Yes, absolutely. If you have a business contact, you definitely want to share it because it is a business opportunity you don't want to see go to waste, right? But a business number is easy because if let's say I get spoofed or whatever, I can get rid of that and get a new business number. If it's your personal number, now all your friends are on it, all the contacts on it, it's more difficult to change. So your personal number should be kept personal. Business number, share, that's fine.
Okay.
So the other thing is sometimes we unintentionally share things. That means we didn't intend to share it, but we end up sharing it. One of it is your location. So apart from showing the photos you take that kind of tell you where you are, sometimes when you post photo on social media, they include where it was taken because they take the metadata of the photo, right? Because your phone has GPS. When you take a photo with your phone, it encodes in the photograph where the photo was taken. And sometimes when you share it to social media, even if it's a normal photo with no sensitive information, sometimes it puts taken near this place. And then the place is now reviewed to everybody.
No, we have a habit of sharing checked into this, any restaurant, anywhere we go, we say checked into this. We have this habit of telling people where we are going, where we are right now, or where we have been for holidays and everything.
It's a good exercise to find out why you want to share that, right? I mean, sometimes we share because we're bragging. Like, oh, I went to a very nice restaurant.
Most of the times, I believe. Most of the times it's about bragging, yes.
But then one of the questions I have, especially for parents, right? When we share such things, are we passing the right values to our children? Because if we are sharing to make other people envious, then maybe we need to stop, because you're making somebody else feel like their life is lacking, that they don't have enough. You know, and it's not a good thing for anybody. So maybe we just enjoy it, the experience, we keep it to ourselves, and then the world is a better place because nobody feels lousy that they didn't have the good experience you had.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the last part, think about your profile as a whole and what it reveals about you. So always have that in mind, the pieces you share, when they're put together. Because one piece may not be sensitive, but if I pair that with another piece, and I put together, I may actually get a lot of information. So you need to be careful when you share things like that. So I'm going to summarize a little bit of what we learned the last 2 days. It's been a wonderful time sharing with all of you. And the last 2 days, we talked a lot about protecting your account, how your online account is very important to you. It allows you to buy the services you need. It allows you to buy things like food, things like groceries. Allows you to get entertainment you like to watch. And if you lose that account, if that account is stolen from you because your password was weak or because you reused your password in many places, now you have somebody who can then buy things using your money or send groceries to anybody they want. So you have to protect your account, especially today, because your online account gives access to all the services you need now that we're all staying at home. The second thing we talked about was how to keep your mobile phone safe. Because if you do not lock your mobile phone, anybody who steals your mobile phone has access to all your accounts, because mobile phones normally are already locked in. So we talked about setting password on a mobile phone. We talked about how to keep your mobile phone, all the apps updated. And then the third one we covered today is not to fall for scams. So even while you use the internet, while there's a lot of great information, always bear in mind there are a small handful of bad people out there who want to steal things from us. So we need to have our guard up, whenever they ask us for information, we got to ask who is asking us for information. When they want us to share something, why do we want to share it? When we get news that is unbelievable, we need to question who is the one giving us the news. Where is it coming from? Are these things credible? So we don't fall for scams and we don't share fake news, especially today in the COVID-19 kind of environment. False information can really destroy society. And then the last thing which we just shared is about managing your online reputation. So your online reputation is very important because it is who you are to the rest of the world. So whatever you share today carries on for many years. So be very, very mindful what you share today.
Very true. We learned a lot in both the days, especially about our reputation, our passwords, our information, the information that we should not share to anyone and everyone. So as you have written on your slide, any questions? We have a lot of questions to ask to you.
Sure.
So let's start with it. I need to read it from my device. Just like there is a question that why we are asked to feed incorrect address, because sometimes it is like it is compulsory. There is a star mentioned on that particular information. We have to feed it. Even if we don't want to share our address or our phone number, there is a star and they ask for that information. What to do then?
So the question is, number one, does the person asking need your address? So an example, if you're ordering food and you need the food delivered to your house and they ask for the address and they put a star there, definitely you need to give the address. Otherwise the food will never come to you.
Yes.
But many times we go out there and we go to websites and they ask for address for things that they don't need, right? Maybe I'm registering to get an online newsletter and they ask you for what is your physical address. The moment you see that, and if you're not comfortable sharing it, don't sign up first. You can always email the administrator of the website and ask them, why do you need this? How will you use it? Sometimes it helps to go through the terms and conditions of the website. It's a super long thing which we normally don't read, but sometimes it helps to go through it to find out how they will use the information. Whether they sell it to somebody else, whether they reuse it, or maybe they just want to send you like a hard copy of their newsletter. Right? So always good to ask. Sometimes it's harmless, sometimes it's harmful, but don't share if you're not comfortable sharing.
Okay. Then another question that we have is like, if we download any app, like a video conferencing app or something, they ask for your email ID. Is it safe to share that?
So there are a few things. I mean, sometimes we use our email ID as the ID, right? What would be smarter but more difficult is to create another email address where you use it for registrations like these. That means you have one email for all your real correspondence with people, the important things, and you have another email address where you just do for registration, for newsletter, for shopping, not just that email, you use it for other things. So at least if you're compromised, that one, no information there anyway.
Okay. And there is a specific question for Google. It says, is it safe to upload important information to the Google Drive?
So the question here is how important, right?
The important information that you have said not to share anywhere.
So I'll give you an example. So the Google Drive is basically your drive, right? At Google, we don't, even employees can't go into individuals' Google Drive to look around, right? We have very, very stringent checks and balances in place to make sure that the privacy of our users is really kept. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so you want to find out if it's safe to upload. So like I said, it depends on, you always balance this with a risk and a convenience factor. So for example, if I had nuclear codes, right, that this nuclear code is the end of the world if somebody finds out this. There's a high chance I will not upload this anywhere. I will not put this on a computer that has internet access. I will guard this with my life. But for most of us, if it's information like an address and all that, if you keep it on your drive, you just treat your drive like your hard drive. So Google Drive is basically your hard drive that you carry around, and the terms and conditions are that we will protect this, and we do have audits. We do have security audits and privacy audits that to show that Google has kept the security and the privacy of our users. So it's not that we're just saying it because, oh, we're Google, just trust us. We'll have third parties come and check as well.
Okay. There is a question like how to identify the scams account holders or a person. Is there any way that you can suggest?
So, I mean, I've worked with law enforcement a bit, and I'll be frank with you, it's very, very hard, right? Because the good scammers are able to cover their tracks very well. They will go through multiple loops, and you can't ever trace them all the way back to the source. So, I mean, that is if you're into digital forensics, no, I know some of you students out there want to become like digital detectives. This is a great field to go into, and then you will start to trace where the bad guys are, what were they using, where are they scamming, and then you do IP traces and all that to find out which country they're from, which neighborhood. No, and maybe a good detective or a journalist can do this as well, but it's not easy.
Okay, and if we get a message on our computer that your computer is infected and it needs a scan, is it wise decision to scan it?
This is a very, very popular scam.
Okay.
Right? If you are not the one who downloaded the app, if you're not the one who clicked on, like, scan my computer, if you're not the one who did all of that, and if you just get a message out of the blue, your computer is infected, please don't call the number, don't give the person money. Okay, what will happen most of the time? I'll run through the scenario. There's a number to call. You will call the number. Then they will tell you, oh, we are from such and such company, and yeah, we noticed that you have an infection on your computer, and we can help you, but you need to make a one-time payment, no, because it's just a processing fee. And because and then sometimes the warning comes down, and sometimes the warning even plays sound like 5, 4, 2. Oh, it makes you scared that you need to call the number now. If it's just a warning that comes out of the blue, ignore it, right? If it's really a virus scanner that you installed, that you know you put it there, and the virus scanner is telling you there's a virus, then you pay attention to that. If it's somebody else you don't know telling you this, ignore it. It's going to be a scam.
Okay. And last question of the session, I believe, how to check what content has been explored using my Wi-Fi. I think we received this question last time also, but there is some confusion. So if you can clear it, that how to check what content has been explored from my Wi-Fi. If someone else is using.
So this is always somebody else is using my Wi-Fi. How do I tell what they are surfing?
Yes.
So the truth is there is very little you can do unless the person's device. You are the administrator of the person's device. So if you run a company and you're giving out Wi-Fi and you told your employees beforehand that you're using my Wi-Fi and you're using my computer, I'm giving you a phone, right? I'm going to be the admin for the phone and all the devices. Everything you do is going to go to a log and I'm going to have access to the log. That's the only way you're going to get access. A lot of people ask these questions, to be frank, because sometimes we wonder, oh, what are my children surfing? What is my, sometimes you're curious, oh, what is my wife surfing? What do they want to buy? If I want to surprise them with a birthday present, I want to know what they surf. Is there a way from the Wi-Fi to find that? There's no way, because privacy is important. That's why unless you're the administrator, you can't find these things.
And last question, this is my question. How safe is it to go viral?
It depends on what you want to go viral for. So for example, if let's say you've seen a lot of things that need to be done for climate change, for example, like we need to stop throwing plastic on the beaches now, right? And you go viral because you are so passionate and your message really hits and it moves people to do something good. I think that is a plus for society, because through your actions, you move all of us to do the right thing. Right? The fear I have is if you go viral for the wrong reasons. Like if you were angry at a person or a group of people and you posted something that is very nasty, maybe very clever, but very nasty, and you posted something and now it goes viral. Now you have a big group of people attacking a small group of people with a lot of hate, a lot of violence. I know we all have histories of this kind of thing happening in our societies.
Yes.
We need less of that, right? We need less anger, less hate. We need more peace, more good. So it depends on what you go viral for.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Lucien, for the wonderful session both days. We learned a lot and we learned the minute details that we usually ignore or never take care of.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very honored, very privileged to be able to speak to you. And I love that even though I'm sitting so many hundreds of kilometers away, that we can still have this connection, that we still want to keep our children safe. We want to keep ourselves safe on the internet. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. That's all for this webinar session. We'll be back again tomorrow with another session of webinar on a very important topic that will be useful for us, for you. Till then, namaskar.
Thank you.